There we go. We are live. Welcome, everybody, to this thing we do on a Sunday. And a huge welcome to Big Al. Welcome.
Hello.
Now, we were chatting this time last Saturday. We met for the first time. It was such a pleasure to meet you and your lovely wife at Hitchin. And here we are. We thought we would get you on so we can find out all about you and your business and how you got to where you are now. Because we know you have a huge eBay business, but everybody starts somewhere, and we love a story. So we're going to dip into that if we can. We are live. So if you are watching us live, please pop in and say hello. Later on, if you've got any questions, once we dig into Alan's business and how you operate your business, if there are questions, please pop them in the side chat. We'll try and get around to them, but it is tricky to do reading and chatting at the same time. Right, I'll say a few hellos, Alan, if you don't mind, before we start. I can see we've got 110 in already, so people are joining us quick.
Wow.
We'll do a few hellos, and then we will dig into what Big Al is all about. So we have Angel Delight was first in. Good to see you. Treasure Trove. Yes, it was sunny here. We went selling at a boot sale, actually. We're having a big clear out, and the sun came out. It was perfect.
It was really nice.
It was nice, wasn't it? Ross, who you may have met at Hitchin, Al, is in. Hi, Nick, Andrea, and all. And Al, sorry, who was great to meet. There you go. Just got back from Scotland Friday. Was a fantastic day given the occasion. Definitely feeling very reflective. Oh, is that the funeral? Yeah. Right. Well, I'm glad it went well there. Yeah, always difficult events. Leanne, who you were just mentioning before, Al, is in. Lucy, good evening. Right, so a few more hellos whilst people are joining us. 156. Welcome, everybody. Tom, hello.
Hey, everybody.
See Blaney, Tina. Somebody called Big Al is in the side chat as well. And Porky, who's local to us in Norfolk. Good to see you. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. I'll quickly see if there are any questions in place before we start that I can touch on.
What's Leanne saying?
Leanne is saying, you can read that if you like.
Can I reserve a place with what is going on in the world? I have got Irish heritage as mum came from Hollywood.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
I think she was referring to when she asked me, have I filled in that big giant quarry yet? And the words were, no, I'm turning it into a nuclear bunker. That's why she's asking for to reserve a place.
Right.
That makes sense.
There it is.
Yeah.
Makes sense now. There's Lee, who we both met for the first time last weekend. Lovely to meet you there, Lee.
What a dude. What a dude.
At Hitchin. That tap peddler is Derek, who was also at Hitchin. And El Reventa is Ross.
Of course, Ross.
Okay. I'm going to try and get down Tony and Jill, who were also at the event. Sharon. Oh, look, it's Hitchin Mark II. This everyone's here again.
This is class.
Tommy, very good to see you. Right.
Tommy never turned up, did he? I was looking out for him. He never turned up.
Couldn't make it, sadly. I'm sure we'll meet in the future, or you'll get to meet him in the future.
I can't wait to shake his hand. He's doing well with his YouTube.
Yes, Leslie, Dig Vintage was also there. Pleasure to meet you. Right, we are almost...
Anastasia as well.
Anastasia, welcome.
Where's Anastasia?
I
see her now. Sorry, there she is.
Dark curly hair, you remember, yeah?
Oh, I do remember her. Yes, of course. I remember Anastasia, yes.
Hard to forget.
Very, very hard to forget. That's right.
I am at the bottom of the chat. So now, some of you may have already found Big Al's YouTube channel, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But for those that aren't aware what you do, let's start with where you're currently at now. Explain a little bit about where your business is at now, and then we'll go back to the beginning if you don't mind.
Okay. So we currently we do currently about £12,000 of turnover with eBay, and not too much now with Amazon, but with our reselling.
And that's 12,000 a week?
A week. Yeah. 12,000 a week. Sorry about that. So we work on a 7-day road on what we do in sales. We dropped massively now. Before November, we were doing about 20,000 a week. That has massively dropped. So sadly, we used to have 8 staff working in the eBay business, but that has massively declined. We're now down to 5. We had to pay off 5 staff over the year or in the last couple of months. But the business itself, we do everything from fashion to general goods to aerosols to paints to batteries, designer goods. What else do we do? Fashion, batteries, designer goods, books. We do lots of books. And gaming stuff. Now cosmetics as well. We're doing cosmetics as well. So the business itself is going through a bit of a flex at the minute. We're moving over tomorrow to a brand new account with Vinted, and we're moving away slowly from the fashion issues that we have with eBay, sadly.
Interesting. Excellent. I was going to ask you later about other platforms and what your plans are. We'll get onto that in a bit. So you now have a huge operation, which sounds fascinating. We talked about it a bit at Hitchin, and I love all the detail of that. But we all have to start somewhere. So how long have you been self-employed, and how did you start out?
So I've been self-employed since I was 16, on and off. Started my first business when I was 19. I basically opened up a little tiny computer shop. And when I was selling computers, people used to say, well, can I not play games with him and him and him? So I went, I think I can get them to dial into my server. If I make a server, they get them dial in. It grew from that, and I ended up owning a national internet service provider, which I sold to Scottish Telecom, 186K, back in 2001, I think it was, maybe a little bit later. And then I started opening up my shops again. I used to have a computer shop, and then I grew computer shop after computer shop. Before you know it, I had tech shops very similar to yours, doing very similar stock to you, selling very similar games to you, and trading cards and posters and a lot. And then, of course, the credit cards come, and I got slapped massively. And as a consequence, then was a time when I went full-time into eBay. When the credit crunch came, and that was in 2006, it started hitting me here in Northern Ireland. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't sell our stock. People weren't buying online. So I started selling my gear that I couldn't sell in my shop via eBay. And of course, that helped me prop up the retail business I owned. And as time progressed, the retail kept on eroding. We tried all sorts of different types of variants of retail services and products to the customers, but it just never seemed to do well. It was always lifting and dropping and lifting. It was a nightmare. So eBay became my go-to. And it ended up 23. So I think it's 23 years I've been doing eBay trading. Later, I was doing quite well up to November. There it is. I think that's probably my story in a very short synopsis, but that's really me.
It's fascinating. We were saying when we got together that our completely independently, we've lived a very similar business life. It's fascinating to hear the trajectory going from retail and then into completely online in a very similar timescale as well. It's amazing. Could you just
we have the same trajectory, and I think there's a lot of people like us that have come from that business and had to resort to eBay when it was good. I believe when it was simple, back in the naive days of eBay.
Yes. Well, we started there. Ours was slightly different in that we started on eBay and Amazon, went into retail, and then came back out of retail. Similar to you, when it got tough on the high street, we sort of saw that coming and made the jump then, didn't we?
Yeah. But we were still selling on eBay and Amazon alongside.
Yeah. And then
it
went
was
back.
Handy. I remember when we were down to one of our, when things started getting really poor. I was glad of the extra £500 a week sales from eBay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Did you want to touch on Will's question quickly?
Yeah, Will, different, changing the subject slightly, but Will says, what's the new seller protection for? It's not seller protection, it's buyer protection, isn't it? most couriers already include protection in the cost of postage. It's basically to protect the buyer in case something goes wrong with the sale on the platform.
Right.
So yeah, that's what it's protecting the buyer from.
So what I wanted to ask you about as well, going back to where we are now, you mentioned when we were chatting that you bought a warehouse. You're not even renting it. You went out and bought a warehouse. Could you tell us?
I own all my own places, all rent free, and it's there to save money because you can't really. I don't think you can operate a business this scale without actually owning the depot. And ultimately, the idea is to cost save everything you can to manage it. I mean, we're coming to a point where one of the depots is actually going to be solar paneled soon for free electricity. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, that was my question. Really. Why go the route of purchase? Because it actually saves you money in the long run, I guess. Yeah, and you have
well, you're not paying rent. You're not at the vicious cycle of a landlord. I don't know if you had that problem, but I did here, where the rents kept on going up when the sales kept on going down.
Yeah.
And you can't trust landlords. You know, I'm a landlord myself, but I tend to use my experience. That was a bad thing to say, but I am a landlord myself, and I try to keep on the honest and the integral way of being a good landlord to people. But you just don't trust landlords, so I don't want to own or to have properties where I'm dependent on the rent rises and the hikes that go on with that and the cost of it. I'd rather have my own properties now. That's the way it's been, and that's the way it's going to stay from now on. And I mean, we're going to remember now. So I'm about to sell quite a large property on the basis that we buy a brand new hybrid retail warehouse. So all the warehouses are going to be combined into this one location with a shop front. Well, there's your pup. There's a shop front. There is a Whatnot studio where we're doing live auctions, and of course the eBay, Amazon, online-esque product.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So you'll have retail and warehouse space all kind of in the same location.
Yeah.
And an online.
You have customers walking in, buying on eBay, and just taking it there and then.
Wow.
So it's going to be called a hybrid store.
Yeah, the best of both worlds. That sounds exciting. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to this new thing that's coming up. I mean, you know, AI is going to be the future, I feel. But I feel that if I need to move it on to a higher productivity level, I need to adapt and change for the future. And I think AI, the online marketplaces such as Whatnot, Facebook Marketplace, the auctions. There's another one that just came up, a new site. I've just noticed they were advertising. I just went and downloaded it to see what they're up to. Tilt.
Similar to Whatnot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I feel that we're going to probably end up going down that road, sadly, where we're going to be media-esque orientated for sales.
It's the world is moving to that fast-paced live selling a bit. I'm still not sure it's going to really take as big as it did in America. We tried Whatnot. Have you been selling on Whatnot already?
No, absolutely not. I'm absolutely. Would you believe it? I feel like it's a bit. You know, we're going back to the old days of Del Boy. You know, all right, 2 for a $5, 2 for a $5.
Right. Yeah. There's an element of that, I think.
Isn't that true?
But you can add your style to it. You can do it in many different ways. I've dipped into, you know, Chris's shows and Tommy, and we've done our own. And what I noticed was everybody had their own distinct style. That I really like about it. We've stopped doing Whatnot for the time being. We're looking forward to eBay's version and seeing how eBay are going to compete in that space. So that will be an interesting fight because they'll be fighting for that custom then.
Well, to be honest, if eBay do it, that'd be great because that means that I can stick with what. I mean, don't get me wrong. When it comes to the platforms, eBay has always been my first go-to. We've had a lot of problems with the fulfillment by seller with Amazon, and Amazon have been a real kick in the crigs the odd time when it comes to things that they allow you to list stuff, and then suddenly if a problem occurs, you get your account closed down because of a bombshell that has been hit by someone doing a Vero. Although I have to admit, eBay's going that way as well now, which is it's hard to deal with,
Yeah, Amazon. We don't sell on Amazon at all now,
Right.
and we from day one of our business, we were eBay and Amazon up until COVID.
Yeah.
And the main reason we pulled out was because they kept moving the goalposts. One minute I was able to sell secondhand media or new media. Next minute I'd need receipts for it all, and I couldn't sell certain stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
Policies, their returns policies.
The returns policies are a joke.
Yeah, and some months we'd look at our accounts for Amazon and realize we'd paid out more than we'd actually made.
We were losing hand over fist sometimes
because you never got the product back.
That's right. You're absolutely right. We get it constantly where the A to Z is basically shut up, give the customer their money back, and move on. Doesn't matter whatever the fault is.
And the customer knows that, so it's fully open to abuse.
Well, yeah, Amazon have made the public well aware that if they shout loud enough, they'll get their money back, and that's bled into eBay a bit. I think Amazon has a lot to answer for. Some of it good.
eBay have better protection.
Some of it not. I mean, I put out a video just to give you an example of how frustrated we were with Amazon. We saw one Christmas we were doing, back then I was doing a lot of brand new stock, and I was doing a load of Star Wars toys. Sold out all of these Millennium Falcons or whatever it was.
I remember that.
One came back a year later in bits.
That's right.
And I kicked off on the phone and I recorded it. And Amazon said, "Oh, that shouldn't have been accepted as a return." I'm like, damn right it shouldn't. What's your return window here? But that's what they're like. Customers are always right, even when they were wrong.
When it comes to my channel, we advertise, or we actually do all the scammers, and we've now got a wall called the Wall of Shame, where we have all our scammers up there. And I mean, we get loads of them because, my sales tomorrow, I think we've got an average of between 200 and 250 packages on a Monday, and over all the week. But that's down. But in that time, we know that of 100, one of them is going to be a scammer or slightly scammy. Yep. You know what I mean? For every 1,000, you're going to get one big scammer.
Yeah, it is. It's true. If you're going to sell on any scale, and I say this a lot, you will come across it. But
That's right.
I always say that can't be your focus. Our focus has to be the good, honest, trustworthy customers, because that is still the majority. But the scammers hurt, and they stay in your head, and you can't let them in because
to me, they're like someone who insulted you the night before, and it has to take time to burn off. But at the end of the day, as I say, when it comes to eBay, eBay have a lot, in my understanding. We've taken a massive hit. I don't think the rest of the UK have taken a hit like Northern Irish sellers have at the minute. I feel there's been a major issue with the supply of our stock to Northern Ireland from the UK mainland, as in GB. But Northern Ireland our country has really taken a massive nosedive in sales. And I'm trying all I can to try and raise that up. And the boys are working tirelessly hard to try and pull it up because they enjoy their role, they enjoy their job, they love the eBay side of things. And sadly, that if it continues to decline, we're going to either of course, try new things, and if that doesn't work, we're going to have to consider the closure of our eBay business. It's been going for a very long time, Nick. And it's the efforts and all the work that we put in to grow the warehouses, to make them as pristine as we could, or the way we skew things, the way we lift things, the way we dispatch stuff. I mean, we're always having to play catch up. If I was living in Hitchin, say, for example, it would be easier for me to pack and post and send off the items, and they would arrive quicker. We have to do everything a lot quicker because we live in Northern Ireland, and eBay don't look at geographical locations as a concern. From, say, for example, Belfast to London requires an extra 1 to 2 days.
Yeah.
So we have to have it packed zero moment. The minute it leaves or gets into our cart and we do the labels, it's gone that day before 12 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we first kind of got to know each other on the back of eBay and the issues they had around the GPSR. That's how we first got in contact.
That's right.
And yeah, I mean, we can touch on that maybe in a minute, but boy, have you had a headache with that one. And the most frustrating thing, and people that follow your channel will know, because you recorded some of the conversations or lack of conversation, because they didn't have a clue what they were talking about. And we've had this. You've seen some of our videos. And that's the frustrating bit, is that you don't feel that you are backed by people who know what they're talking about.
Correct. From politicians to even the press, no one seemed to actually care about these massive regulations that are coming in. And remember that I've told you as well, like, there's another one coming in that's going to affect Northern Ireland in March, April, where you guys, if you're living in GB mainland and you're selling to us per Northern Irish people, we now have to get a little document that says it's a CN21. I mean, for crying out loud, I remember when I signed that HMRC tax document, I was paying it to HMRC, not the Irish tax office.
Yeah. So when it suits them, they're treating Northern Ireland as if it's part of Europe, and when it suits them, they're treating Northern Ireland as part of the UK. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Right. And you're in between two stools, so we fall. And ultimately it's a big issue. It's a big issue for me. I find it really hard at the minute. There's just been so much nonsense going on in regards to eBay plotting and dealing with the regulation. Amazon's been all right. They've kind of ignored a lot of the regulation that's been put in place. So, say for example, if you look at Every, for example, Every and Yodel, so they push their prices up for Northern Ireland. We're paying substantially much more than GB. And sadly, that's only happening in eBay. Whereas Amazon said, no, it's the same price no matter what part of the country in the United Kingdom you're from. So we're actually managing to send stuff for Yodel at much less price on Amazon than we are with eBay. So we can only send now with only one courier to stick in with the free postage that we do. So we sell a product, we still do free postage. And that eats into the cost of our product. Thus, less sales because we're having to push the minimum price up for the smaller goods, such as, say, for example, a little tiny wax candle for £6.50. That now has to go to £7.50 to pay for the losses.
So am I understanding right that eBay, the postage you're buying through eBay has gone up for Yodel?
Correct.
Could you not just buy the postage outside of eBay and avoid their price?
So directly in Yodel's site, they've also discriminated. I call it discriminated against Northern Ireland. So it is the price that eBay says, but not the price that Amazon says. Amazon, the only safeguard for the UK anti-discrimination, because there is a law, but nobody seems to be considering that law anymore. And it's hard for me and the hundreds of other eBay resellers in Northern Ireland. There are hundreds of us. Yeah. And we're kind of the quiet voice. I'm the one that's the most mouthiest, I think, because we've got this Northern Irish culture. And this Northern Irish culture is, don't talk about what you do.
Right. Okay.
Whereas I'm half English. My family came from north of London.
That answers C. Blaney's question.
Read C. Blaney's question then.
C. Blaney says, I'm big into accents. Did he live in the UK for a bit? As I can hear some English twang in his accent.
There he is. So I was born in Isleworth, raised in a place called Feltham, and my whole family are from Wandsworth, Garden City, Letchworth, Hitchin, Baldock, and Chiswick. So there it is. The Castle family are all English. My mother is the Irish side. She brought us over here to teach me some manners, allegedly.
Really? Will asks, Big Al is going to be a dragon soon. Is that?
I'm going to look like a dragon if I keep this up, but that's about it.
Well, just scooching down just to see.
Yeah, we'll just dip into the chat. It's difficult to keep on top of the chat sometimes.
Oh yeah. So Tara is.
Tara says, who was also at Hitchens. Big Al told us, Hitchin, that he was born in Feltham and moved back to Northern Ireland when he was a kid. Yes. And it was fascinating that your background traces back to Baldock, where we had our first house.
Crazy, yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of Baldock. All my family, when you go back, it goes back to my family heritage to go back to I think it's the 1600s. It's crazy.
Yep. And didn't we work out that our grandparents are in the same graveyard?
Right. Yes. The graveyard in Letchworth, or the back of Letchworth. Yeah. Scary.
Right.
Oh, there's a question there from Tommy.
Oh, Tommy. Right. Would you like to read that one for me?
Al, you are a man of many trades and talents, but which is your favourite hat to wear across all of the things that you're involved in?
Great question. That's
a really good question. Well done, Tommy. You put me on the spot. Let me think. Okay, so first of all, the YouTube is actually a money-making organization now for me. We started it 6 months ago. And there's nothing as much as I like to do is being paid for talking nonsense. So as far as I'm concerned, the most exciting business I currently own is the Castle Media. I love doing building work. I love keeping my hands dirty. I love doing all that work, and I love renting. But the good news is the amalgamation of everything I do goes onto my channel. And then you get paid for the pleasure of doing it. So it's like, it's money for old rope.
Imagine that, Al, being paid to chat about whatever you like.
As we say in Northern Ireland, getting paid to talk shite.
Yeah, well, exactly that. Yeah. Dig Vintage, question for Al. Are you tempted to go full-time into property development and leave eBay behind?
No. And the reason is I've got major contracts with people that I get stuff for bargains. I can't let go of that contract or that ability to buy what I buy. The way I see it is that the stock that I get, I wish I could supply to all the resellers, because I've got that much coming in. I can't get rid of it. If you just saw my warehouse of warehouses full of stock, brand new stock, that I just can't sell because we haven't got enough staff. And the second reason is this: my staff are the greatest people that I'm involved with. I love them dearly. I find them quite important to me and the business that I run. They flick in and out of both YouTube and the building business that I own and the rental company that I own, and that we kind of group together as a little collage of people who get everything done. So no, I couldn't do that because I would lose really good people.
Business fundamentally changes when people are relying on you, right? It changes the whole thing. It's not just your bottom line that you're worried about. It's other people,
That's right,
looking after their families and their income as well. And it is, I mean, we've had staff in the past, and it was a lot and a lot of responsibility.
It wasn't for us. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think we are more comfortable. And we chatted about this briefly in Hitchin. We kind of pared back when you went big, right, in the last few years, right? And it's really interesting to see how we've gone in different directions. Yet our past was very similar.
But my choice was forced. And the reason was I had a lovely little account selling lovely little batteries. eBay MC11 me for 24 weeks.
Right.
And they had £8,000 of my money. They stopped it in 24 weeks.
So that was, for those that haven't had that on their account, hopefully you never will, that's when they claim that you're selling dangerous goods. Is that what they're accused?
So again, this is the problem. Dangerous goods, prohibited items sent through the post. Royal Mail used to take them because I didn't have anywhere else to sell it. We had Every, but they were terrible, or Hermes, as they were called before. And then what happened was the delivery of stock. The batteries are always fundamentally a dangerous thing to sell just on its own. Mm-hmm. No way should anyone sell batteries on their own, or else you will have a massive defect rate and you will be turned off for that. That's why I got turned off. A massive defect rate. And for me to survive, because I had at the time a member of staff, I just started growing the business. And having that, I decided I needed to open up another channel amongst or against their policy saying, you're MC11, if you open another account, you're going to get banned. But I had to live. And at that time, I was growing from my bankruptcy. After being bankrupt 8-9 years ago, I was trying to regrow my income, become a businessman again. And there they were, stopping us, no conversation, not even giving us our money back. My cash flow was stuck in eBay accounts for 24 weeks.
I was going to ask, and I think I know the answer to this, but were eBay communicating with you? Were they trying to help you through this thing, knowing that you were a big seller, doing very well, but I bet they didn't try and help you through it.
No once. There was no communication whatsoever, and it was extremely nauseating. It was my anxiety was through the roof because I had to work. I had to go and get a job back then because bankrupt and then growing myself and getting about 100 grand worth of stock to find, number one, I can't sell the other 100 grand of stock that I had, and two, you're not getting your £8,000 to pay wages. So I had to go and get a job to pay for the eBay losses because remember, we were still refunding. We were still processing stuff and the money was coming and I was going, what am I supposed to do? I was still having to pay fees because we were an anchor. We were an anchor then. I was still paying fees for it.
I can only imagine the level of stress when eBay switched ours off.
Yeah,
that was only for a couple of weeks for us. That was our entire income gone. Thankfully, we didn't have staff to worry about.
Right.
As we might have done, but it was beyond stressful because we had no control and eBay weren't helping. But
no, it was like banging our heads.
We could talk about just that for an hour. Perhaps we'll do that another time. But yeah, I can't believe what you had to go through with that.
But ultimately, I had to survive. And as a survival tactic, what I do is I don't retract. It's whatever got in my head. I don't retract. I go forward. So I find alternatives, and that's what I had to do, whether eBay frowned upon it or not. I'm always honest about what I did. And I had to open up multiple channels. And that multiple channels mean that I had not just all my eggs in one basket. And I've got MC11, which I did. I got MC11 on one channel and I had 3 sitting open, and it was enough to keep paying the staff. And the fourth one, when I got it cleared, and I got much more professional how to deal with MC11s to a point where I'd done a YouTube video, and that's how I became a fan of you. You know, when you were talking, when we were first dealing, when I got myself involved, I was looking for something to tell me, and you were having the same problems as I were at the time. And I became a big fan of you. So I think it was about when you got your first big lock problem with eBay, and you were just doing YouTube at a start. That's when I got involved with you. And then the MC11 hit you about the same time as it did me. But there was me getting all frustrated. How did they get released so quickly? And I went, Eureka, they're YouTubers. I'm not.
Yeah, well, that was one of the times when we were so thankful for having a voice. And I know this is what you've wanted, is a voice to be able to speak to people. And,
right.
And YouTube paid off big then, because that video made it, as I said to you in Hitchin, that video made it to the top in eBay. And they made it happen quick. I think we would have been stuck in that loop for possibly months trying to get ourselves out of it. Thankfully, I was able to speak to people high up in eBay, and they knew they had to solve it because tens of thousands of people knew about it and weren't happy. Right. Yeah. So YouTube opens doors. It does help. Yeah.
What's that comment saying, Chris? Oh, look at that.
It says, is the smartest dressed reseller I've ever seen.
Well, and at Hitchin, you turned up fully suited and booted. That was incredibly impressive.
I love dressing up. I feel like a bit of a, I don't know, bring back gentry clothing. That's all I say. Bring back the suit, the bow ties, the whole lot. Bring it all back. I love it.
Since I left my last paid work in the police force, I've tried not to wear enforced clothing.
That's right. Uniform every day for you.
Yeah, I wear t-shirt and jeans guy these days.
Yeah.
Lee says, I've decided after coming through some health problems, I'm getting back into eBay from Wednesday. Absolutely terrifying.
Well done, Lee.
news, Lee. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
so
go for it.
That.
And you know where we are if you need advice, help, someone to moan at. Right.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Well done. I'm glad. I think I talked him into that. I was telling him, get your bum back into eBay.
Right.
So
now,
I hope I did.
You mentioned before that the scale of the stock you've got and these warehouses full of stock. Are you able to talk about the source of that and where that all comes from, or not?
Ooh, all I you put me on the edge. I mean, I'm an honest guy, and I won't lie, and I tend not to. But I can tell you that I get it from a local major courier company.
Right.
How's that?
Okay.
And it's all the stuff that they couldn't deliver, brand new stuff, either be it from China, Germany, America, whatever it is. I get clothes, books, the whole lot.
So in that sense, you never know what's coming in the next, crate of stock.
12 cages. Yeah, I get 12 cages roughly about a week. Now, because of the sales going down, I have stopped because I am full to the brim of stock. I have no space left in all of my. I mean, I've got a house that I'm building. If you have a look at my YouTube channel, I've got a house that I'm building that's full of stock. It's a 4,000, 5,000 square foot house, and it's full of stock. Yeah.
Oh no! Talk about the job coming home.
Yeah.
So I'm interested how that works. Is that a contracted thing? So do you have to keep taking it and finding homes for it? How's that working?
Yeah, you got the last part. So it is no longer a contract. Anyone, if they have the know-how and they get to know me, and I might tell them, can access this fruitful bounty. But the fruitful bounty, I'm trying to make sure that I'm still a major purchaser, so I still have the kudos and the respect from the people that I do the business with. How's that?
Yeah. I mean, it may be that you evolve again into wholesaling some of it back out,
Right. And that was actually suggested at Hitchin.
Yeah, I think we spoke about it briefly. I think
which is a great idea. I never thought of it until then.
Almost like a pressure release valve. It's like, okay, we've got too much. I need to offload all of that over there to take some of
that. If you had a look, now I will let you into a secret. Okay.
Hang on, there might be people listening.
Okay. Well, this just me and you, just us three. Okay.
Okay.
This studio, okay, is barraged with fashion stock.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, I will turn the cameras. Don't tell anyone. There's the rough part of my studio. Shh. In there. Okay, do you see all the fashion? Look, watch. I'm being a bit rude here. Hold on, I'll get up and show you. Shh. Don't tell anyone.
It's an exclusive.
It's an exclusive as well. Yeah. So if you look, there is bags, and I'll just show you. And this goes right behind the entire fashion area. And it's full of brand new stock fashion. Look, there's a coat. And that is from, where is it from? Yinzo. It's a Chinese brand. So that's going to be something you get out of somewhere. But you got everything from, there's brand new Zara, a brand new Zara top dress actually, worth about 50 quid, says there. But that is full all the way behind my room. And of course, I'll show you this side because I don't know if you can see me, but there it is there. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Bags, and they go behind the studio, right behind that wooden area. There's roughly, we sort of estimate, there's about 100 to 150,000 pounds worth of fashion stock shoved up in the studio because we've no more room. So it took us about 3 days to get rid of it.
Is the plan with this studio space you've just shown us, is that thinking towards Whatnot then?
No, this studio space is literally temporary because we've got the new studio being built in the actual depot. We've got a massive extension going in. We hope this year. It's just time and staffing and issues with that. But the idea is to open a brand new studio, and this part of what you see here is going to simply just be taken down again and put back in the new studio. This room is not designed or supposed to have my commercial stock in. Every property that I have that's spare is full to the brim of stock. Every bedroom that's not lived in has got stock.
Wow.
Sounds like our house.
Yeah. It sounds like most resellers, except your story is on another level stock-wise. I mean, volume, right?
I think it's the fact that I was trying to make sure that I could keep the reputation from my supplier to keep doing it. And I mean, I've got another 12 cages to lift, but I just can't lift them. And therefore, I can't buy any more because no one's going to sell me 12 cages and have 24 cages sitting at their depot. So, yeah.
You highlighted another comment.
Yeah, King Shield has asked, could you please expand a bit on selling batteries on Amazon? It's important to me because I'm one step away from entering on that market.
So selling batteries on Amazon, we only ever sell branded batteries on Amazon. There's a place called Cameron Sino. If you're interested, they do business with the UK and, of course, us little Northern Irish people. But Cameron Sino are a company in Germany. They're great, and they give you branded stock that you can scan in an EAN, get all the GPSR stuff already pre-sorted, and Amazon will allow you to sell it. However, you cannot sell batteries such as a Samsung battery or a Nokia battery on Amazon because you need EANs, you need branded stuff that belongs to you, and the only thing you can really get away with is Cameron Sino now. That's it. So if I can answer that, if you're going to sell batteries, you can sell them on your own site. You can sell them on eBay, but you cannot sell them per se, or you can only sell them partially on Amazon.
Okay. Exploit says, I noticed in your last video a box of Timco screws. Are you a hardware seller as well?
Yes, we sell Timco screws. How did he notice that?
I get that all the time.
David,
like I'm doing a haul video and then somebody says, oh, I noticed on your shelf behind you.
Crazy.
David, I believe, is a fellow Northern Islander.
David, yes, I'm actually subscribed to his channel, but he stopped doing YouTube videos. I noticed I was looking at him actually yesterday, would you believe? That's quite funny. He's popped onto this site. I think is he from Bangor, I think? Bangor, Northern Ireland.
I can't remember. But he's a lovely, lovely guy. Whenever we've always supported charities through our channel and done big charity events, and David is the most generous person we have ever had. He always supports charity events. Incredible guy. Talking of David Tappenden says, hope you had a good day selling at Beck Row today. That's where we were at the boot sale, having a clear.
All right, okay.
Me and the missus saw you guys there. You should have come and said hello. We don't bite always, just sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I'd love to do. I'd love to do what you guys do, going down. I've only ever done it once, and I ended up doing it big. I went down to a car boot sale. He was selling a load of comics, and I said, "What would you sell me the lot for?" And he said, "I'd do the lot for 400 quid." I said, "You're done a deal. I'll take the lot." And I took 4 crates of comics away with me. So there it is. Hello, Cameron. Sorry, my son has just joined the team.
Oh, hello. You are very welcome.
Yeah, Sharon's saying.
Sharon says, question for Al. It's gone.
Just says hello.
It said hello, did it? Right.
C. Blaney says, whereabouts roughly will your new retail place be?
Mr. Blaney, they will be in Lisburn. You're more than welcome to come and help me paint it and put the counters up.
And then Sharon's question for you. Has anyone rung you on your burner love phone yet?
There it is. And the
Lovely.
answer is yes. Lots of people have rung me on this phone. No, the first time I introduced this because of the haters, Nick and Andrea, and I did it on a video. I went down and bought a burner phone, and I was going, I want to have a row with the haters. I was getting really sick of the haters. And there was a couple of people saying some nasty things, and I went, right, you want to say it? Say it to my face. Here's my telephone number. Call me direct. People can call me right now on this number. And I record it on the phone. So the first time someone called me, they were going, oh. And I was like, all right, another that. So nobody has called me other than people who love the channel and want to talk to me direct or do business deals with me. So there it is.
That's it. That's a great idea for content, though. I think you've got this YouTube game nailed. I think your channel's going to take off.
I just think I'm a bit eccentric. I'm just using my eccentricity for the channel, you know?
That's what it needs. It needs a bit of something. You know, all we're talking about is buying and selling stuff. You have to have something behind it, which is hopefully a bit.
Well, I think that's where Ricky comes in. Have you seen what he did? Have you seen his last video?
I haven't seen his last one yet.
No, not yet.
It's hilarious. He had me in stitches. I started thinking he was doing me, but you know, I don't drink Red Bull. That's the only thing. I mean, you've got to see it, man. It's hilarious.
I did see that one. That's the one where he's doing an impression of a reseller.
But he says it's not anyone. He says he's just doing a pretend reseller. And I thought to myself, right, you got something there, Rick. Tell you what you do. Your first one you're going to do, you're going to do a Northern Irish accent, and you're going to do me.
Tommy says, once you grow to a level of your magnitude, knowing the things that you now know, what's your thoughts or top tips to go from scouring charity shops for a handful of things to filling warehouses?
Okay. All right. Well, sadly, I never went down to the charity shop thing. Never did it. Purely because I never noticed it until a lot of people do it in England, but charity shops, I just never did it because I've come from an area where I've always bought from a distributor and sold from the distributor. I've always had stocks off. But what are my top tips of growth? Number one is stay ahead of the problems. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to eBay, you gotta be, of course, pragmatic when it comes to what eBay do and say, right, another day, another problem, and deal with it. Don't go into a massive negative mode and just you gotta. I mean, the way I say it is you got to stay positive when the shit hits the fan. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
But the tips that I have got for growing is never be afraid to take risks. Never be ashamed to tell anyone that you've made some money. And always, always, always show strength no matter what they put in front of you. Show strength. Keep going. Daily, daily, daily. I really can't specify an eBay growth because my business has been 4 or 5 businesses at one time. And I tend to spin plates. One, the construction, then the rental, then the eBay, then the Amazon, then the shares. I mean, I do lots of things. But I tend to keep myself extremely busy. 18, I only get about maybe 6 hours kip a day.
The common thread you'll find with all successful people is they work bloody hard.
Yeah, no, I think it's just, I don't refer to it as work though, Nick. I just think it's fun.
And the thing I resonated most in what you just said is you've got to take risks. And we've taken calculated risks time and time again. And also within that, be prepared for it not to work out. Don't be scared of failure, because once you're scared of failure, you won't take the risks.
That's right. That's right.
And we have failed, and I dare say you failed, because every successful person has a history of failure. Right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have been a bankrupt. I have been a bankrupt. I have faced the courts. I have had my Ferrari repossessed. Wow. My house is repossessed, and every penny taken from my account, and shamed. And I mean, publicly shamed, humiliated by some people. And a lot of people got the enjoyment out of that rise of me to the failure of me, and enjoyed the failed me with a big beard. And, actually, and I don't like to share this, may shock some people, I was only 5 years ago, I was a manic depressive that was suicidal.
Wow.
And I was on my own. I had a major crash in life, and from a multimillionaire down to a zero, and trying to rebuild your life and getting slapped every time by people here who knew that I was a bankrupt. That had affected me massively, but I realized that's what they want. People that don't want to do anything about it. They want you to fail because they feel good about themselves by you being like that. But I learned that strength statement that I told Tommy. Strength is key. To get up every morning excuse my language, I won't say it, I won't swear. Sod the haters. Sod them. Let them be your energy. Let them be your backwind. Let them push your sales. And since then, I took that attitude, and I had some help with a doctor and a few tablets now and again. It changed my outlook, and I'm no longer ill. I no longer have a mental depression. I think it's a thing where you come back to it. It's like an alcoholic. You're always going to be mentally depressed. It's one of them things. I just accept who I am.
We can identify. We don't talk about it a lot, but we've had dark times. So I thank you for sharing that. I know it's not easy to talk about sometimes, but I just want to add that the true measure of somebody is not getting knocked down. It's how you get back up. And here you are. Right, not that long in the future since you went through that phase of your life, and you've not only come back, you've come back bigger and stronger than ever, right? So that's the result. That's where you.
And it was actually me this time. There was an involvement of staying and listen to a lot of people saying no. Listen to no a lot. You get used to it. So you're looking for the one yes of 100, of 100 no's, and that has been my time where I sought money to buy properties. I've sought money to build properties. I've sought money to buy stock with eBay. Anytime there was an opportunity, I was there, thick in the middle of it, buying everything I possibly could and taking loans of friends going, listen, can I borrow 50 quid? Because I want to go down to the auctions today. And that was ultimately how I became the person I became after I lost it all. So, and I don't hide. I'm not frightened, Nick, of what I used to be or what I am. It's who I am as a whole. I don't hide from it. I'm not ashamed of it anymore. I'm pleased with what I've done. And as a consequence, there are people that are now doing quite well in their own personal lives around my little enterprise. My staff are doing well. My family are doing well. My friends are, I have this growth of success with them, and we grow together, as a giant big family. So I kind of like what we do.
Well, thank you. Honestly, thank you so much for sharing that part of your story, because I know it would have inspired people.
And it will with people as well.
Absolutely. Kenneth, before we read Kenneth's comment, we haven't forgotten about your incredibly generous item you've sent. We are going to auction that for charity, Kenneth. I meant to message you actually today and forgot. We haven't forgotten about it. We've had a lot of things on our plate recently, but that's coming soon on the channel. We have an amazing item that Kenneth incredibly generously sent to us. We're going to auction it coming soon in the next couple of weeks. Do you want to read?
Yes, Kenneth has a question and says, to help eBay resellers here, how do you get your first deal with a distributor?
Oh, wow. Well, Nick and I know the same answer to that one. It's not that easy. Well, back in the old days, it used to be. You just applied and you got a credit account and bum, done. But not the same anymore, is it?
It's so different. Different suppliers, different wholesalers have different attitudes to you. Some will demand a lot of you. Some will demand that you have a retail outlet. Some will demand X, Y, and Z.
That's right. They've got very choosy about who they do business with.
It depends. And what Al said is right. You need to keep banging on the door. And when they say no, say why. And but none of it's easy. Breaking into distribution or wholesale can be tough.
It is. I mean, there's a company that I'm dealing with at the minute in Manchester. It means me having to get a van and drive to Manchester each couple of weeks. And they sell paints. They're not willing to do business with someone in Northern Ireland, but they're okay for me to set up a business, say, in Manchester or a postal address, and come and lift 20 grand's worth of stock from them and lift it from there, which is just ridiculous. But then there's other ones, like in the comics. We started doing comics, and we do some of them saying, well, are you doing eBay? Yes, we do. We're not dealing with you. You have to be bricks and mortar.
Yeah. So that's what we found. Trying to get accounts, we fought quite hard to get accounts with Nintendo.
Yes, that's right.
Sony and what have you, because it just wasn't easy. And they didn't want to sell their stuff to just anybody. And I understand that. And I respected that. But we had to prove so much to them that we were a genuine high street business, and we ticked certain boxes, and eventually we got there.
What I've noticed, and I'll probably add to that, what I've noticed is that when I done the deals with a lot of these big brands, they changed the rules very quickly. I had a contract with Hewlett Packard, I had a contract with Epson, I had a contract with Nokia, I had a contract with Samsung. We done all the phone repairs back years ago for Samsung, Nokia. That all ended within a year when Nokia went under and Samsung decided to do their own repair centers. But ultimately, big contracts don't last; they move with time.
Right. I'm sorry if we've missed certain questions in the chat, but we'll just read out this one quickly from John. Do you want to do that?
John wonders, do you sometimes think that you might have too many fingers in too many businesses? And if you were to concentrate on just one or two, would you be able to go bigger with an easier lifestyle?
Yeah, I'm bored. I get bored quickly. If it ain't rocking my boat that time, I get bored. I've got this, whatever this is inside my skull. I can't just sit down and go, another day in eBay, doing a few more listings.
Just listening to everything you've done and everything you're doing, and we've done a fair bit in our time, but you sound like the Energizer Bunny to me. I don't know, we're the same age. You've got more get up and go than I have at the minute. I tell you,
I wouldn't say that. No, I mean, I think again, you and I have had different courses, but I just think the last few years has been the second rise of my flair, and everyone's. It just seems to be happening right now, and I don't want to destroy it by, acting like a spoon or being negative with people or being just a complete plonker. You don't want to do that either. So, but I think I'm probably, because I'm so, and I will tell you that I'm a little bit more eccentric and over exaggerated because I am talking to my heroes.
Oh, don't start on that one.
I'm sorry, but I have to say, you guys are my heroes. You guys are my inspiration as to why I sit here right now talking to you two.
Incredible. I'll tell you this, when we met, it was like I'd known you for ages. Did you feel that? It was really easy. And
I knew you for ages, Nick. You and Andrea, you know what I mean? It's kind of, I've known you for ages. And I mean, it's funny. I know everything about your business. And you were saying, oh, it's like this. Oh, I remember that. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Well,
you very kindly extended an invitation to come over and look at your setup. And we would love to do that at some point.
That'd be a great show.
We'd love to be able to come over, and then we can show all of our viewers by making a video. And I'd love to see how you've got that scale and how you've got that working, and meet some of those lovely staff you've got.
Well, I would love to have all you resellers over. I mean, I'd love to do a Northern Irish version. I'll set you all up in the Titanic corner. Oh, that'd be great. I would love you all to have a big Northern Irish shindig with us all. Could you imagine the YouTube resellers coming over here? Brilliant.
Now you're talking.
Can we take an empty suitcase and go around the charity shop?
We'll take an empty truck, I think.
And remember, the charity shops are not like what you guys do. You could invade the whole charity shops of Belfast and Lisburn. You'd make a killing. Because I seen a charity shop, which I can't understand, because Rick was going, look at the price of that. Look at the price of that. And I was going, hold on. I went and looked in it. I was like, everything, Carhartts, T-shirts, all a $5. Everything a $5 on that rack. And I was going, you guys haven't been here, and nobody's caught on to this big treasure show. We're always behind. You guys are always advanced. Northern Ireland, we always tend to be behind the rest of the UK for some reason. Don't know why. Anyway, what's this scumdeluxe thing?
So there's another question here for you. Do you consider yourself a reseller or a retailer? They say, I ask, as most of your products seem to be new, and I don't see you fixing VCR players or listing board games.
Oh,
it's interesting that, isn't it? The whether there's a distinction, because I mean, John, Luke, and Charlotte mainly sell. I mean, they still sell.
Yeah,
used on eBay, but they mainly sell.
I think, I don't want to get in the way of your answer, but I think there's a distinction between picking individual items or buying wholesale. That's the main difference, I think, between our businesses, for example, Albert. What do you think?
Well, I think when it comes to me, I regard myself as just a retailer, but I don't. I don't tend to really put myself into one label. I'm just an entrepreneur looking to maximize what I do when I do it. If you really picked a reseller, I would call myself a reseller because I'm reselling stock I bought from an auction or bought from a distributor. So I'm a reseller, not a retailer, really. Retailers are dead, really, I think.
It's basically the same thing, is it? Resell. All retailers resell, just with
yeah.
Now, believe it or not, we've already been chatting for an hour, so we'll start thinking about wrapping up soon. But I would love you to come back on again at some point because we've got so much to talk about. And I just want to quickly talk about YouTube at the end. Al has set up a channel. It's doing incredibly well. If you found Alan's story interesting, if you found Alan great to listen to, which he is, go and check out the YouTube channel. Where can they find you, Al? What do they have to search?
They just have to type in Big Al, really. I notice that people are now, if you type in Big Al on Google, I come up number 1.
There you go. See, you go in places. Google knows you already.
But hold on. If you type in Nick and Andrea also, you also come up as number 1.
Our eBay store pops up now as well. You don't have to search.
Yeah, it's class. All I have to do, I done a bit of a, for my subscriber. I think some of my subscribers are here. I seen some of them chatting. Some of the regulars, and I put up a wee short saying, "Come to Nick and Andrea tonight. Just type in Nick and Andrea on Google." So yeah, my channel is a bit more varied though. My channel talks about me being on a roof, down to me complaining about the smell of weed next door in one of my rentals. You know, my first video 6 months ago, which got a fabulous 200 views, was never cut down a fairy tree. And I say it weirdly because I've got that half English accent and it sounds like a furry tree. So people were like, is it a fairy tree or a furry tree? So take a look. That was my first video we ever did. And we've got some brilliant hits. One of the videos we done was when I had to release a tenant from his lease. And it got 1.6 million views.
Wow.
What? I know.
Wow, that trumps our biggest videos. Well, there you go.
I couldn't believe it. It's still growing. We reckon it's gonna hit 2 million in views by the end of, not in this month, but the end of next month.
Incredible.
It's crazy.
Kenneth says, I would come to Northern Ireland just for beer and whiskey.
Yeah, Kenneth.
Tommy, great channel. As soon as I found it, I binged a load of videos.
Tommy, I've been watching your videos too, my friend. You're great. Keep it going, buddy.
Tommy's great in person.
He's a dude. I love his wee channel, and I want to do I'll do a wee thing with him as well. Hopefully, all this could work for everybody. We don't.
Tara was just at home in Dublin. And charity shops are definitely on the up. Interesting.
Get there before they all get destroyed.
Tom has just gone over and subbed. Excellent.
Fairy trees.
Okay.
Oh, I love it.
Any words of wisdom coming in tonight? Unless there's a delay.
Well, it is that time. So you may be aware, Alan, we like to end on a word of wisdom. We do try to keep things positive here. We had a little chat about that the other day, didn't we? Positivity is the key to many things. And if you are self-employed, as I was saying, you keep things positive, because descending into that negative spiral, and we've seen a little bit of that in the community, and it was just so unhelpful. So we end on a positive with words of wisdom, not ours, but the chat's. So do you want to read some out? And then
before we get to words of wisdom, that's Flipping Retro said, Ali gave us an accidental shout out on one of your videos. So cheers.
Oh.
I remember That's Flipping Retro. I actually am a subscriber as well of That's Flipping Retro as well. I've been silently, I was a bit like what I call the underdog, just cycling through every single one of your little channels, keeping an eye on what's going on, learning from you all. And you've all taught me proactively. I've went round, and it's only now that I'm sort of being noticed, maybe because of the fact that I've grown so much in the channel, and I got myself involved with everyone. I think GPSR put me on the map, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it comes down to putting yourself out there, reaching out to people as you did to myself and others in the community. You made the huge effort to coming to a meetup down in Hitchin. That's the sort of thing that, just putting yourself out.
And you know what, Nick? You're much better looking in person.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you very much.
And I didn't know you were a police officer, so I'm glad I didn't
Yeah. Long time ago though. It feels like another lifetime.
You've got that personality, that calm, no matter what phases you, personality. You would suit a police officer. Was it what were you in the Hitchin area? Were you?
Yeah, not far from there, St Albans. I was stationed.
Class.
Yeah. So anyway, we have words of wisdom coming in. So we'll read a bunch out, Al, and pick one that floats your boat, and that will end on your favorite. So, do you want to read? Oh, well, you having a drink. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill.
Oh,
that's a great one. And that sums up your story from earlier really well. Actually.
It does.
Lainey, our wonderful good friend Lainey, don't worry about what I'm doing. Worry about why you're worried about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't get my head around that, but that makes sense, I think.
Yeah.
Tina says, our mind is like a blue sky. Clouds come and go. We tend to get caught up in the clouds and forget about the blue sky.
Yeah. Focusing on the negative again. Yeah. I quite like that.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yes.
I'm still going Winston Churchill here right now.
It's a great one.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Ah!
Do-do.
I know. I love that.
Sharon says, for things to change, you have to change.
Yep.
Oh, apparently you thought they were George Ross.
What? I don't know how you could confuse the flipping retro girls for George.
Yeah.
Tommy says, how you dress is how you'll be addressed.
Ooh, I like it.
Oh, I see you put your own words of wisdom in.
Where'd that come from? That didn't come from me.
Stay strong. Don't stop. Keep going.
Excellent. Yeah, they're not mine. I would go. There's a lot of good ones there. I'm reading a lot of the ones on the side here. There's tons of them. Hello, yeah. Amy. How are you, darling? My daughter's coming now to join the team.
Uh-huh. When you're going
through a massive fan following, my daughter and my son.
Excellent.
Sorry, let me have a look here.
When you're going through hell,
there's some beautiful. There's lots of.
Buy wholesale lots and let someone else test the VCR players and list the board games.
Right.
Okay.
It's not as exciting. I'd rather fix VCR players, to be honest with
you. Every setback is a setback for a comeback.
No, a setup
for a comeback. Yeah.
Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out.
Tom has done it. That is a beautiful word, because I believe we all start with little tiny stones.
Oh,
Tom has it sorted. There's Brom Reseller. How are you, sir?
He who casts a bigger net will catch more fish.
Hi, John.
Yeah, but Brom Reseller, I'll end up getting more hassle with the bigger fish.
Yeah. And Flipper Maggie says, thankfully, we work indoors, mostly in the warm, unlike the farmers and Nick.
Yeah, my shed's cold.
I don't envy Nick in that shed. I really don't.
I've been working inside the last few weeks.
Look, I tell you what, see your next, if you ever get another shed or you're doing another shed, I'll come and insulate it for you. I'll get the boys down. We'll get that sorted for you.
Well, between us, things might change, but yeah.
Well, if you ever want me to do that insulation for you.
Okay, I'll be in touch.
Ross says, while I'm worth my room on this earth, I will be with you. While the chief puts sunshine on Leith, I'll thank him for his work and your birth and my birth. It's a wonderful life. Live it. Is that the Proclaimers?
I don't know. That's an interesting one.
Anastasia says, you are the artist of your own life. Don't let anybody else hold the paintbrush.
Lovely.
That's very good, because Anastasia is an artist, isn't she?
She is an artist.
Chris says, a tidy man makes tidy work.
I am not a tidy man.
Neither am I.
Right.
Courage is not having the strength to go on. It is going when you don't have the strength.
It's going on when you don't have the strength.
That really resonates.
You see, I think there's 3 really good ones there. Really, really class. Tom's one, the Winston Churchill one, and that one there from, was it Piggy? Something?
Well, Tom's got another one here. Tom, tough times never last. Tough people do.
We'll do a couple more quickly. So many coming in this week.
There's loads of them.
Failure is the first step in the journey of success. Again, you see that ties into your story you shared, right? Yeah. And we've had our failures, and we've been open about those. When we opened our second retail business, it failed. Yeah. Simple as that. And you just have to pick yourself up, decide what you're doing next, and keep going forward. And that's exactly what you described before.
Right.
Lee says, nothing succeeds like a toothless parrot.
Excellent. Okay. Well,
Jessica says warmer days around the corner. They are, and around the bend. We had a lovely warm day today.
We did. We drove home from the boot sale in the glorious sunshine, and it just put a smile on my face.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that, because I'm out working in the digger next week. So there you go.
Oh, right. Oh, I'd love that.
Nick is now scrolling up. So if you put any words of wisdom at the bottom, we've missed them. I'm sorry about that.
Yes. Well, the early favourite, I can't even find them now. Where on earth were we? I've gone too far. Bear with. Shall we end on that one, Al? The Winston?
Yeah. It's a lovely, Winston Churchill, one of my heroes again. So yeah, I love that.
So the quote was, success is not final, failure is not fatal, it's the courage to continue that counts. Oh, I just got shivers with that.
That's a love. It's you know what, it has a poetic statement to it as well. Love it. Anyway, thank you very much.
Please go and give Al's channel some support. I will put the link below. If you're watching this after the fact, and many of our viewers choose to watch this during their working week, the link will be below the video. I'll try and pin it on the top comment as well, so you can find it easily. Go and give Al some support. Hopefully, we will get you on another time. We can pick a subject and have a chat about something else, and we will take you up at some point, and we'll come to Northern Ireland, and we'll have a look at your
That'll be fun. I will show you the country. It'll be just fun.
It will be awesome. Thank you so much for spending time with us, Al. That was a really good chat. It was an absolute pleasure. We knew it would be, because we've met in person a week ago, so we knew it would be good.
I'm honored again. Honored.
Pleasure. And thank you to everyone watching. Thanks for your comments and your questions. We will be back next week, won't we?
I think so.
We may have a guest lined up. I was talking with some of the lads. We did a listing challenge about a month ago, and we were talking about reconvening and talking about how that impacted our stores. Our store went balmy after that listing challenge, so we might be doing that next week. Thanks again, Al. It was an absolute pleasure. And thanks to everyone.
Thanks, Al. Thank you very much. I'll be in the crowd next week talking to you again.
Perfect. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Guys, bye.